More Heart Than Talent Radio.
One is not the loneliest number one. It is 1 o'clock in beautiful Stockton, California. Facebook Live, Jeffrey Combs. Beautiful May day. I understand the East Coast it is raining. Well, it is not raining in beautiful Northern California. It is my honor to be with you here on the Facebook Live, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Great topic for today's call. The topic is, would success contradict your struggle? I write this out in an email frequently in my email campaigns and ask that question, does success contradict your struggle? If you're an addicted struggler, noble struggler, and struggle is a way of life, struggle becomes an identity. This is what many people do. They tell themselves they're avoiding failing when really what they're doing is avoiding success. An addict always wants a little more. As a recovering addict myself, I know I would walk up to the door of sobriety and go, I'm not sure if I can handle this. I'm not sure if I can control tomorrow. What I can do is be in control of being out of control. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you are overwhelmed. So a few quick announcements for today. This Saturday, much gratitude for Cara DeChico Sandre, who is a NATE practitioner, a Nambudra practitioner, and unequivocally one of the best quantum healers I've ever had the opportunity to collaborate with. Carla Vilches will also be attending the event, another rock star quantum healer. So the three of us will be sharing the carpet in beautiful Tarrytown, New York this Saturday. This will be more of a mastermind type event, intimate audience. So if you're in the area, it is an open event. Would love to see you there. And I'm going to be rebranding some of my events. They're going to be called Quantum Consciousness. So as we move into this state of awareness, understanding, knowing, and consciousness, I'll be delivering, along with my own content, some of the best healers that I have met in America to deliver their content with you. So attend one of my events. It will actually be, when I say life-changing, it will be body-changing, where you will be in your body, and your brain will come together so you become one with, in a much more relaxed state, so that when you're having conversations, you're transmuting energy that's conducive to an outcome that's favorable rather than the mixed message. Please join me, but don't. I'm not sure if I'm capable of being responsible. Unfortunately, that's the way a lot of people transmute their feelings. And that's in fight or flight, that's in an overwhelmed state, anxiety, fear, and doubt. So in breaking through today's content, the content is designed for you to have a better understanding. So that instead of trying to make sense of it, I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. Well, that's not what you're doing. You don't wrap your brain around it. That would be a turban or a towel. That's not the purpose. The purpose of understanding is so you know. When you know, you're not in doubt. And then your communication style is not filled with probably, kinda, sorta, okay, and all these other words that people use over and over to perpetuate a set of feelings that keeps them neurologically and emotionally addicted. So if you're seeking the let go process, and you are seeking a way to move into elevated states of energy so that you can attract your reality more frequently, like-minded success seekers, then that's what this content is for here today. And then this Saturday I'll be in Tarrytown, New York. June 8th, I will be in New Jersey. I will be in Saddlebrook, New Jersey. And then the rest of my schedule is available on my website, goldenmastermind.com. If you've not joined my newest group, it is called Sobriety Consciousness. We're already over 500 members. And if you're part of that active group and you're writing there, thank you very much for your contributions, because then it's a very enlightened group of people that are breaking through. Now let's take a look at why we do what we do. If you grew up in a household where there's conflict, there's addictions, there's anger, there's trauma, there's neglect, any multitude of situations, you have to grow up and be an adult very early in your life. You lose your identity, you lose your innocence, you become a grown-up before your time. This sets you up to be codependent. This means you'll over-obligate, you'll do more for others than you'll ever do for yourself, and this will create a lifetime of struggle for most of society. This will show up in the relationships that you cultivate, the relationships you're into, your intimate, your team relationships, your employers, your employees, a whole situations like this, because there's a lot of force that goes on. So a force has to have a counter force. The two to be able to collaborate, even though it's not the type of collaboration you're seeking, a force requires a counter force. Power has its own set of energy. Power is esteem. Self-esteem is energy that's lovable. Self-esteem is energy that is not dependent upon any other energy. Force, on the other hand, is dependent on conflict. And that's what happens in struggle. So many people, they can't find someone to be in conflict with. They're in conflict with self. And this is why many people are self-critical. I can't believe I did this. This is so dumb. And they spend so much time living in the problem that they seldom move into the solution. And then they engage in relationships that are unhealthy, and then they tell themselves they can't disengage, or most importantly, detach from these relationships, perpetuating the same set of feelings over and over. If you're in a real estate business, a mortgage business, a network marketing, a direct sales business, an internet marketing business, a coaching business, obviously you require clients, customers, teammates, people you can service, people you can sell benefits, features, and products to. In that type of business, you require communication skills that are conducive to an outcome that will be favorable. When you stop, start, then there's a gap and a delay in your communication. That's the conflict you're in, because you're afraid, you're anxious, you're overwhelmed, you're going to make a mistake, get in trouble, say the wrong thing. You might even say the right thing and someone might join you. Oh my God, then who would I be tomorrow? Well, tomorrow's not even here. What you focus on is right here, right now. And so much of what people miss out on is two words called common sense. And a common sense approach to being successful in any business is you focus on the key components and the key skills that will allow you to be and stay successful. Skill number one is how you communicate with self. Number two is how you communicate with others. So your self-talk, how I talk to myself. You want to be able to talk to yourself with honesty. So you can be honest without being critical. And like last night, I got into a little fender bender. And I was honest with the woman. I wasn't sure if I crossed the line or she did, but I agreed that it's probably my mistake. And so this morning at 8 o'clock, her car was in a body shop. My car was in a body shop. I already had a contract written out that waived me from any financial situations that would hinder me, or lawsuit, or any situations. And by 11 o'clock, the whole situation was resolved. This happened at 10 o'clock last night. Now that is called living in the solution. Now the old me, the old addicted me, would have vacillated on this. I would have been pissed off. I would have blamed her. I would have called an attorney. I would have called the police. I would have blamed myself. I would have spent I would have relapsed. I would have relapsed the minute I relapsed into anger. When you're no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape feelings, then you live in a solution. You live in the result. And as you begin to live in the result, then you're not in the problem. When you live in the problem, you stay in the problem. When you stay in the problem, you vacillate, you explain, you justify, you get ready, you procrastinate, and then you struggle. And then the flag you wave is the noble strugglers hit parade. And when you continue to perpetuate these type of feelings, you attract your reality. Frequently, people to fulfill those feelings, events and situations to fulfill those feelings. Now you're mistake conscious. You'll attract mistakes, you'll attract conflict, you'll attract situations to continue to perpetuate the same situations over and over. Now, as you move into a state called awareness, that means you know. And in a no state, not a N-O, but a K-N-O-W, when you know, that's certainty. And certainty magnifies, certainty polarizes, certainty attracts to reality other people who live in a place called belief. And belief is a sense of certainty. And these are the one or two people you require in a 30-day period, a 90-day period, 180-day period, 6-month and 1-year period. They show up not miraculously. They don't show up synchronistically. They show up through science. And the science that they show up in is the science of attraction, because you begin to attract your reality, people that are in the same belief that you're in a more occlusal alignment. It means it's like this. It starts to happen frequently like this, a lot more frequently. And in that law of alignment, you start to attract teammates, soulmates, employees, vendors, contractors, people who you can be and do business with, people who you because you have an open line and a direct line of communication. That direct line of communication is called an occlusal alignment. It means in the universe, there's no separation between you and the outcome. Now, when you're in that state, you're in a state called trust. You're in a state called belief. You're in a state called awareness. And you're in a state, most importantly, called know, K-N-O-W. People have asked me, well, Jeff, how did you become so certain of yourself? Well, the facts are I wasn't always certain of myself. I lived in a lot of doubt. I grew up in a situation where I was never good enough. I had pressure put on me, or at least that's what my brain believed, and then I put pressure on myself so that I would say I'm under a lot of pressure. Pressure is an illusion. Pressure is control. It's when the ego has to be in control of outcomes that haven't happened that the ego begins to worry. Then the ego tries to control outcomes. And because the ego can't control an outcome, then an ego gets upset. When an ego gets upset, then an ego is angry, and that anger creates hate, resentment, guilt, shame, abandonment, rejection, overwhelmed feelings, grief, and apathy. And then that's how struggle is. So even you can be talented and still create situations that are hard. I'll show you what hard looks like. Hard is spelled, I like to use a black pen for this, H-A-R-D. So there it is right there, hard. When it's hard, you also become hard-a-holic. So right there it is, a hard-aholic. That's what strugglers do. Strugglers live in a place where it's difficult. Strugglers are frustrated. They get frustrated real equally. They get easily. Strugglers also get flustered. Strugglers have to be right. Strugglers want to be in conflict. Strugglers want to point out that other people are wrong. Strugglers require someone to be in conflict with. Strugglers live in a place called force. And they try and force situations. They're going to force it in. They're going to take that round peg and put it in that square hole. They're going to force it in. Strugglers have challenges closing because they're not closers. Strugglers talk way too much. They talk and talk and talk. Or strugglers don't talk at all because they're afraid of the outcome before they even happen. And strugglers struggle, and what strugglers do is then they feed their emotions with food, alcohol, compulsive debting, spending, gambling, sex, overwhelmed states, avoidance, procrastination, and other situations to fulfill a set of feelings. Strugglers typically have major money issues. They cannot let go of money. Strugglers have challenges even borrowing money, knowing that they can pay it back, but not afraid to move into that state because they're not sure if they'll get the result that they think they should get because they're so out in the future and they can't let go. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of strugglers do. It was interesting. I had free coaching sessions with several people this week. Absolutely the right people. I was in the right space for them. However, they said, I'm not sure. I'll get back to you. I got to consult with my ego. And when you consult with your ego is always going to talk you out of your higher self. That's what so many people do. They consult with their ego, or they consult with other family members who are in the same ego. And then in that state of egoic mind, they can't let go. They can't see the light. They can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They can only see what's right in here because they live in a tunnel vision. They look a lot back over the shoulder at the past, and they're worried about what's out up there in the future, but they don't look right down here, right down in the lane. They don't stay in that lane, that centrifugal energy that would take them right to the land of promise. And this is what many people do, is they trip over themselves struggling rather than living in a state of flow. The hands-free zone is called prosperity, or prospero, i.e. in the flow. So here becomes the question I ask. Are you anxious about success? Or are you anxious about failure? Well, somewhere in the middle that people do. And see, what people are really anxious about is, can they control the outcome? Can I be responsible? You could, provided you commit. And commitment is not an intention. So what's your intention? An intention is not a commitment. A commitment is one day at a time. And that's what recovery is. In my newest group called Sobriety Consciousness, many people are being honest in that context. They're not telling drunkalogs and stories. They're stating facts. So what rigorous honesty is. Metacognition is when you can look back at the situation, see what the situation is, evaluate the situation, understand it, know it, own it so it doesn't own you, detach from any situation owning you, be honest about the situation, forgive and accept, and move into a state called flow. So when you forgive yourself for the transgressions, the events. When you forgive others, Now you're able to turn the situation so you move right in here in the hands-free zone. And that's a lane, that's an energetic space. And in that type of space, that's where synchronicity happens, synchrodestiny happens. Situations you begin to magnetize, polarize, and attract your reality, quality, like-minded situations and people that will foster your recovery, your sobriety, your good, your meaning, your cause, and your purpose. And it's in that state that these people, they don't mythically, magically show up. They show up, and they show up because you created the outcome before you were ready, and you're not focused on success or failure. You're focused on the skills. When you take failure and success away from each other, that leaves you right here in the middle. Now, here's the skills, here's the mindset, and here's the habits. This is what people don't focus on. They focus on not succeeding, and they focus on succeeding, and then they talk big. I'm going to tackle this business. I'm going to crush this business. Or they're over here going, wow, I'm not sure if I can do this, instead of going right here. So I never focus on success. I focus on results. Once you focus on a result, that's where the repetition and the experience comes in. The repetition and the experience is the 10,000 hour habit. That's the methodical process over and over. But most people's ego goes, oh, fuck, dude, that's boring. I can't do that. There's no way that I can sit my ass in a chair for 4 or 5 or 6 hours. I've got ants in my pants. I've got the spilkas. I have places I got to be. I got to go out to one of them B&I meetings, and I got to go to the chamber mixer, and I got to go out there. I'm going to go out there and meet people. But typically what people do is they go out there and then nothing happens, because it's the same overwhelmed body out there rather than being right here, letting go. Success isn't what you focus on. Failure isn't what you focus on. You focus on the skills. And the skills are asking the same set of questions over and over. The questions I asked today are a byproduct of the questions I started asking in 1988 when I became clean and sober. The questions I asked today are refined from the questions I asked in 1992, in 1996 when I was at my lowest in business. The questions I asked today are a byproduct of the questions I asked between 1996 and 1999, my first breakthrough years in owning businesses. And the questions I asked today are a byproduct of the questions I asked between 2005 and 2008, only more refined. And so those questions that I asked today are the questions that lead to an outcome. I asked this young woman last night, do you have insurance? Well, I know she doesn't, because she didn't answer the question. That was a trial close question. And when I called my body man last night, who owns the body shop and one of the top Mustang detail places in the United States, I said, Terry, I realize it's late, but do you have about 5 minutes I can tell you a situation that happened? You go, sure, Jeff. I go, Terry, is that yes? That's the same question I ask over and over and over. When I ask a waiter or waitress that they've considered owning their own business, and they tell me they're going to nursing school, they're going to college, they didn't answer my question. That's not what I asked them. I asked them if they kept their options open. That's what I asked them. Or if they were considered. And when they don't answer it, I know what that means. See, that's the skill. I'm not focused on success. Focus on the skills. Let go of your anxiety about failure and focus right here, right now. And stop using money as your excuse. So many people use money. Oh, I'd like to hire you, but you don't understand. My situation's unique. Well, when you speak like that, you attract your reality, the same situation, to fulfill your feelings. See, it's not whether you have the money, it's the desire to create the outcome. So when people focus on money, that's like focusing on success and failure. It's not the money you focus on. The result is the creativity and the innovation to attract it. If I didn't have money for something that I wanted, I would liquidate. I sold a Mickey Mantle autograph that I received when I was 5 years old. I had no attachment to that autograph. I got that in Kansas City, Missouri, when the Kansas City A's, before they moved to Oakland. I got that when I was 5 years old with my father. I wasn't concerned with the Mickey Mantle autograph. I used that $500 to buy leads with. See, those leads turned into 5,000, 50,000, 500,000. You stop giving power to so many things that you try to control. Let go of your control about outcomes that have not happened. When you use money as your excuse, you'll attract other money excusers to your reality to fulfill your own disappointment. When you begin to let go of these stories you tell yourself, situations begin to happen. The alignment happens. the law of alignment begins to happen, and people begin to show up in a much more relaxed body. I see Monica Hendricks on the line today. Monica hired me a few months ago in New Jersey. I knew Monica didn't have the money, but Monica did not use money as her excuse. And before that day was over, I was hired. By the way, Monica is one of the top writers in the sobriety consciousness group. And all that, she's in there because if she made that decision that many months ago, and see, this is what happens. So many people, they don't create the decisions when they're right there at decision time. And this is what so many people do. They get right there at contract time. When it's time to sign the contract, they go, I own a multi-million-dollar building, and I didn't have the money for the building, but I had an asset, and I knew if I could trade that asset into this existing asset. I had heard that there was a term in real estate called the 1031 exchange. And so I asked my attorney, I asked my realtor, does this really exist? And I found someone said, oh yeah, that's possible. I said, well, how can I trade this asset and this other asset, get a mortgage on this, and then how can I borrow money on this house so I can rehab this property, and I have a clear outcome of what that's going to look like in 2 years, and in 7 years, I paid that property off. All because in 2008, I have a vision of what that would look like. And see, that same situation would happen to you if you begin to live in that same law of alignment. And that means let go of success and failure, focus on results, focus on solutions, focus on the skill set. And if you start to do that, then you start to live in a whole different place of energy called now. And in the now habit, when you can decide now, you'll attract other people who do it right now. And when you're a now asker, when's the best time to hire you? Now. When's the best time to get started? Now. Well, let me think about it. That's what so many people do. When you're a non-thinker about it and you're one of those few people who can commit now, you'll attract your other reality, other now thinkers rather than let me think about it. Let me run it by someone. Let me talk to the fireman, the dog catcher, the blow-up doll in the closet, someone who's broke as I am. That's what so many people do, is they perpetuate the same set of feelings, attracting the same outcome, wondering why no rock stars show up. Someone who crushes it, they're waiting for someone to show up to crush it. These are like overblown terms. These are embellished. I mean, I've used them occasionally, but I'm from a small town in Missouri and Iowa. I mean, I live in practical application of outcomes and results. I'm a very systemized, organized, detailed, methodical person. I'm not a big picture dude. I'm a very small picture guy right down here, right in the moment. And in my career, I've created over $50 million in free enterprise because I learned the skills. I focus on skills. I don't focus on goals. Goals are out here. Skills are right here. See, it's the skill. It's the repetition and the experience. The skill that you can master today is asking questions. When you get your car washed, ask a question. When you go to the gas station, ask a question. How are you? How are you? Three words. One question mark. 3 words, 1 question mark. How are you? I consistently write content that asks questions. When you become skilled at asking questions, you're going to create outcomes that are much more favorable. When you live in that solution, you create results. You're in the present, you're in the now, you're here, you're available. This Saturday, I'll be in a very, very small, intimate workshop environment in Tarrytown, New York. My exceptional assistant, Ray Cataline, will be traveling with me. Ray is also one of the co-founders of the Sobriety Consciousness Group, and he's someone that has really put together a lot of great details and content. He's also a content writer in that group. Ray and I will be there in Tarrytown, New York, and we'll be sharing the carpet with Carla Vilches. Carla is a top-tier quantum healer, along with Kara DeChico Sandre, who is the host of the event. And these two women's content is off the charts. I have booked them for next November's Quantum Consciousness event that used to be called the Protege Writer Speakers Workshop. They will be sharing the carpet with me at that event, and you'll be seeing the 3 of us at several events throughout the East Coast in the forthcoming months and well into next year. We're already in process of putting together a 2-day workshop on the East Coast. I'll bring Brittany Carr, one of the top social activists in America, who's a following in the hundreds of thousands to the East Coast. So very, very exciting times at Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated, Sobriety Consciousness. Yesterday, we filmed 5 videos of the 13 videos for that group page, and you're going to see a lot of people joining that culture in the next year. Even though I'm a small vision guy right here, I have aspirations to build that page into the hundreds of thousands, and that is already in process. So if you seek a free 20-minute coaching call and you'd like to communicate with me, you can get back with me if you've done one with me before and you're on the serious stage of hiring me, rehiring me, upgrading your package. I have about an hour of free time if you want to get back with me. You can contact me at 209-932-0227. Facebook message me. I do pick the telephone up like this, and I do return phone calls now. So if you want to get a hold of me, do that, be that. Look forward to seeing you this Saturday in Tarrytown, New York. June 8th, I will be in Saddlebrook, New Jersey. June 15th, that's the Breakthroughs to Success weekend. And we have many other events lined up for the calendar. Oh, Baltimore. We just added Baltimore to the schedule for July 20th. So a lot of my events are on the East Coast. Jeffrey Combs signing off here. Learn the skills, habits, and mindset of a millionaire in the process. You have a great afternoon.